More than 1.3 billion vehicles move across the planet, and most of them still depend on fuel to keep running. Keeping gas stations around the world filled with that highly flammable liquid is an incredibly complex job, and one mistake can turn it into a disaster. But have you ever wondered how gasoline is actually made? We visited the heart of the American oil industry in Texas to discover how gasoline is made from crude oil. This is one of the most powerful places in the world. Texas is home to the oil industry of the United States. Drilling has been taking place here since 1894, but it wasn't until 1901 that the oil industry truly took off, when a single discovery helped launch the modern Texas oil boom and changed American energy almost overnight. Since then, tens of billions of barrels of oil have been pulled from Texas soil, and even after more than a century of drilling, billions of barrels of recoverable crude oil are still believed to remain underground. Oil is not only one of the main fuels for transportation, it is also essential for aviation, shipping, manufacturing, and petrochemicals. Petrochemical derivatives are basic to many everyday products, including plastics, asphalt, tires, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals. The sticky, foul-smelling black liquid they are searching for is crude oil, the raw material used to make gasoline. Oil is found deep beneath the earth. Tens of millions of years ago, plants and tiny marine creatures died, sank to the seafloor, and were buried under sediment. Over centuries, this mass of organic material went through a chemical transformation caused by heat and pressure, and millions of years later, it became one of the most important energy sources on the planet: black gold. It may smell like rotten eggs, but it also smells like money, a lot of money. This is Texas tea, black gold, the best there is. On this hot and humid morning, the crew is starting its work. Their job is to create a new well. In 2026, Texas remains the leading oil-producing state in America, producing more than 5 million barrels of crude oil and condensate per day. And in the Permian Basin, one of the most important oil regions in the world, production is measured in millions of barrels per day. To keep the crude flowing, producers like Occidental Petroleum continue drilling new wells across the region. For the workers, this hard, loud job under the sun is just another day at the office. After possible oil and natural gas deposits are identified beneath the ground using seismic technology, the drilling site is selected. But even with this technology, oil exploration is still a gamble. If the well is productive, the crude oil goes to a refinery where it is transformed into gasoline, diesel, aviation fuel, and other products. But finding oil and pulling it from underground is only half the challenge. They also have to reach it. In this region, known as the Permian Basin, crude oil can be found thousands of meters below the surface, trapped inside ancient rock formations. Some of the rocks in this basin are hundreds of millions of years old. To reach the oil, enormous engines drive a massive diamond-tipped drill bit down into the earth. But the friction creates extreme heat, so drilling fluid has to be pumped constantly into the hole to cool the cutting head. Then the fluid carries the debris back up to the surface in the form of mud. It is loud, difficult, and extremely dangerous work. The crew has to get the drilling pressure exactly right. If there is too little pressure, the bit will not cut. If there is too much, it can break. There is also the risk of gas emissions that could trigger catastrophic explosions. As they drill, the crew has to constantly add new sections of drill pipe using heavy automated equipment. And because the drill advances meter by meter through solid rock, this exhausting task has to be repeated again and again, 24 hours a day. If they are lucky, they will hit oil. At first, the pressure of the trapped oil forces it through tiny holes and into the pipe, pushing it up to the surface. But that natural pressure does not last forever. So to keep the oil flowing, a deep well pumping system has to be used. The circular motion of the flywheel is converted into a vertical movement, and like a giant metal syringe, the pump draws oil up to the surface. The fluid from each well comes out through a pipe, and the pipes from all the wells feed into a main line that carries it to a gas removal vessel. This fluid contains carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, and natural gas, which all have to be extracted. These pumps collect the black gold of Texas. But these oil fields are far from the places where the crude is needed. So a series of pumps pushes it into a pipeline, where it begins a journey that can stretch hundreds or even thousands of kilometers to its destination. This is one of the largest refinery systems in the United States. At Port Arthur, Texas, North America's largest refinery can process up to 730,000 barrels of crude oil per day, turning crude into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, propane, asphalt, and other products. The noise is so deafening that workers across these massive industrial sites rely on hearing protection every day. This place is so large that it does not only process crude from Texas, it refines oil from across the United States and from other parts of the world. Crude oil contains a mixture of hydrocarbons, and each one has a different number of carbon atoms. These hydrocarbons also have different weights. The lightest are gases like propane, while the heaviest are used to make products like asphalt. The team removes and treats the hydrogen sulfide, transforming sulfur compounds into sulfur that can be used in industrial and agricultural applications, including fertilizer production. Then, after the crude is heated to more than 370 degrees Celsius, it is pumped into the base of the tower. The vapor rises, almost like boiling water. As it cools, the molecules begin to condense. First, the heaviest asphalt materials settle at the bottom. The lighter molecules, like gasoline and kerosene, keep rising until they also condense and can be drawn off through different levels of the tower. From one standard 42-gallon barrel of crude oil, US refineries can produce around 19 to 20 gallons of finished motor gasoline, around 11 to 13 gallons of distillate fuel, like diesel and heating oil, plus jet fuel, propane, asphalt, lubricants, petroleum coke, and petrochemical feedstocks. A refinery this large can produce enough fuel in a single day to supply huge numbers of cars, trucks, aircraft, and industrial machines. But before that fuel can reach your tank, it has to pass another test. The gasoline is tested in an engine that checks its resistance to knocking. Knocking inside an engine happens when the fuel ignites spontaneously while being compressed inside the engine cylinder. The laboratory can then send the data back to the refinery, allowing the team to correct any errors in the blend and make sure the mixture is exactly right. Now it is time to open a series of valves so the gasoline can flow through underground pipelines toward nearby terminals. From there, it is transferred into enormous tanker trucks. But filling a tanker truck is far more dangerous than filling the gas tank of a car. One mistake while loading or unloading the truck could cause a serious explosion. The metal body of the truck can create sparks through static electricity, so the first step is to connect a grounding cable and activate the protection sensors that prevent overfilling. A second pipe, known as the vapor recovery line, captures the vapors released during filling to stop them from escaping into the atmosphere. Every day, millions of liters of gasoline are transported from terminals to gas stations. After the gasoline is poured into the massive underground storage tanks, it is finally ready for consumption. So the next time you fill your tank and think about how expensive fuel has become, remember the government and remember the oil producers. Like the video if you enjoyed it and share it with someone who might find it interesting. And subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on to keep learning. See you soon!